So thank you for joining us, Maria. I'm going to introduce you. I have with me Maria Morris, MMA fighter, now located in Taiwan, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, correct?
As of today, I'm in Taiwan.
Oh, great. Welcome to Taiwan. Well, I'm talking like I will be in Taiwan, but nice
Yeah,
that
well,
you're
welcome everyone
there.
else to Taiwan. I was gonna try to go outside, but it's raining today, so
Oh,
that didn't
tell me how's the whole thing COVID in Taiwan, the COVID sin, because you just
work.
told me that you just got a test, right? And that was
Yeah.
nasty. So tell me about that
Um,
experience and everything there.
Taiwan has been super lucky, and it's handled the whole situation really well. So I think we have only had one small, like ever, like public outbreak, and that was like 8 people in like the whole time COVID has happened.
Wow.
So everyone feels really safe here, and everybody's trying to get into Taiwan because of that reason. So actually, I think Taiwan in the last month has shut down to all foreigners again because they were starting to catch people in quarantine with the COVID. So they shut down to even like its own citizens returning for like a month or so now, just to make sure everyone on the island like continues to stay safe and everything. But we've never had an issue. Like life hasn't actually stopped. There's no public quarantine or like no like the island has never had to go into lockdown at any point.
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
been really nice.
secret? What is the secret?
Um, I don't know. Like everyone here, even like if you walk outside right now, even if I walk out of my apartment, as soon as you hit the walkway, like the public area, the masks are on. Like everybody wears masks here without question. Um, any building you go into, you even though we've hadn't had any public outbreaks really,
Right.
you still get sprayed upon entering most buildings. You get your temperature taken since the very beginning. So
So
I think
pretty
that
much like
probably is what has stopped
they
it.
have they have done like really good rules, and I feel like what is helping is that everybody's like following the rules.
Everybody follows them, and they tell their people like the older people if they see you without a mask or even if it's kind of pulled down, they're like pull your mask up. Like everyone follows the rules really well.
That's amazing. That's amazing because it's unfortunate, at least like in my home country, Bolivia's in South America, nobody's following the rules. They're like
Yeah.
they're acting like the world is normal, nothing's happening, and the level of infected people and and the the death rate over there because of COVID is very very high. Obviously, not compared to United States, but still is very very high. And obviously, one of the main reasons is because nobody's just following the rules. I was talking to my uncle the other day, and he's telling me, yeah, like we couldn't party on the last year. There were like like a New Year's Eve, and also there's like a lot of student parties because a lot of people's graduating during that year and stuff like that. But they were complaining that they couldn't party despite of what was happening, and they partied anyway. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
where's the responsibility behind it? Like that was absurd.
Doesn't make sense. I mean, when the clubs never shut down here or like anything like that. Um, so it's just funny because like even if you went to like a bar or whatever, you're still getting like they do the temperature testing and then you would write your name down. But that's about it. Like nothing ever stopped. Like everything still stayed the same since the beginning.
Wow, that is interesting. That is so cool because here in Finland, I have to admit they have done a great job to contain the whole epidemic, the spreading and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Again, people follow the rules here. It was good, but the I mean, not restriction, the rules and regulations and the checkup were not as intense as you're mentioning there. And then I remember when COVID first came out, Sweden decided to say, okay, we're not going to take any restriction. We're going to
Oh, I
continue
heard
our
that.
life
Yeah.
normally. It's going to be good. And they were even writing articles about Sweden, like, how are they doing? It's working for them. And we should take an example for them. And boom, all of a sudden, it's like, oh shit, we're all contagious. Like, what do we do? So they were forced to go back to to quarantine people, and it completely backfired. As opposed to
Yeah.
Taiwan, that you're telling me, they're like everyday life is happening, but they're doing just a magnificent job in containing this disease. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also another reason is because it's cultural to wear masks in the first place. Like even before COVID, if you got sick, people expect you to put a mask on, like in school or wherever you are, and it's just normal. Like from young, like kids, they just know like if they're sick, you're gonna put a mask on to not get other people sick. And the laws here are super intense too. Like I remember there was maybe one or two foreigners that broke quarantine once, like even just to step outside to grab an Uber from where they were staying,
Yeah.
not even like really leave their apartment area, but just like step out of the doorway, they got fined like 50,000 NT. And like police were tracking, like at the very beginning, it was very like it was super strict. Like once you hit like you're like wherever you're gonna quarantine, you had to stay in that like area, and police would like occasionally drop by and like check, just like, and they would like try to track you very very well. So like everyone knew that if you were to break quarantine, they'd catch you, and like there's CCTV everywhere, so they'll track you and they'll figure out if you did or not, and then they're gonna fine you just so much money that's not even worth it.
Oh man, I mean, like it's harsh, but I think those rules are necessary though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
those
people would
fines.
just be like, why not?
Exactly, and it seems to be working. Everybody's following the rules and everything.
Yeah, it's
That
amazing. It's a great place
that,
to
that
be.
yeah. But how's the MMA scene? Like most places of the world, it hasn't stopped. In Taiwan, is
Yeah,
it?
we were
Is it?
lucky that I mean, the MMA is growing here, and it's doing well, but it's still pretty young, I would say, compared to other places, especially like the US or maybe even like other Asian countries like Thailand or China.
Mm.
But there's some decent, like, for especially for amateurs, there's a good organization, and some other ones, especially for Muay Thai and kickboxing, and BJJ does really well too. So we've had like the competitions never stopped either. So there's always a competition like every month, whether it was like BJJ or like Muay Thai. Like I competed last summer in June. Yeah, in June and we had like the national Muay Thai championships in Taiwan. And then we just
Nice.
went to like BJJ, and there were amateur MMA fights that kept going on. So it was really nice to be able to still compete while everybody else in the world was kind of forced to go into like lockdown, and they weren't able to get to their gym, and we had access to our gyms, of course, and could go whenever we wanted.
Yeah, I
So it was
remember
great.
when it first hit here, at least, like everything closed at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The gyms were closed, and when they opened up a little bit, we were able to train just in confined groups in number of like maximum of 10 people. And your
Oh wow.
sparring partner has to be the same sparring partner for the whole time, not only for the whole session
Oh
there,
wow.
maybe for the whole season. Yeah.
That kind of sucks. Like
In
at
a, in
least
a
you
way,
get to
it's
know your
like good and
partner.
bad. It's like good and bad. Good because like you get to have like a buddy relationship with your sparring partner. But bad because you have to find creative ways to try to come up with new moves because your buddy already knows what you're gonna do. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like that, but also that keeps you on your toes. And at least
Yeah.
I learned a lot in jujitsu to there to take my time because it was like I was new to jujitsu. I always been doing standard like kickboxing
Yeah.
and kung fu and all that, Muay Thai, and I wanted to make the transition to MMA. But before I did that, I wanted to have the ground game very well like
You
established.
definitely need that.
Yeah. So I got into BJJ. I am very familiar with BJJ, but I have never trained it before. And I have to admit, Maria, it's just I loved it. I even like it more than kickboxing, me personally.
I really enjoy it too, actually. I don't know. I think I go back and forth between like I started with striking because my husband, he's a professional MMA fighter. So when I met him, I had he like the first day I met him, he told me he was an MMA fighter, a professional MMA fighter, and I was like, what is that? Like I never heard of that before. And so I was introduced to it by him, and he showed me his fights, and then I was like, oh, okay, so like this is what MMA is. And from there, he just like we just kind of as we started to get to know each other more, he taught me how to punch, and he taught me like basically the beginning of boxing, and I wasn't really interested in it like that then. I just liked it to just work out with him occasionally. So like maybe every few months we do like a little session, and he'd show me some more technique, and I would just stay really with boxing and just learning how to punch. But um Yeah, I guess the reason why I got into MMA was because of him. And like just as our relationship developed, so did my knowledge of MMA and like martial arts.
Man, like that is, I tried also to introduce martial arts to my wife when we first got
Mhm.
together. I also at that time I was fighting kickboxing, and I was like, okay. She was like, "I'll teach me some stuff." So okay, we
Mhm.
decided to do one session together where I will teach her the basics, the jab, cross,
Yeah.
hook, and maybe a couple moves, maybe like like a tip kick and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And we just did the warm up, and then she was, "Nah, that's it for me. No, I don't like this."
Oh man.
Yeah, and I was like, "Man, come on, girl, come on!" Like I wanted, like I had this nice. I already created this picture in my mind that she was going to love it. We're gonna train together and this and that. And then after the while, she's like, "No, that's it for me. Not for me." She likes going to the gym, but she loves
Yeah.
doing like dancing classes, aerobics, and then
Yeah.
this was too strong for her. And even though she, until today, well, I'm not fighting anymore. I haven't fought in like many years. But when I
Mhm.
used to be, she was 100% supportive, at least
Yeah.
in the emotional way, giving that motivation and stuff like that. But she wouldn't go to my fights, and she would hate see me with bruises and stuff like that.
I
And
mean,
you
it's
know, as a
hard.
fighter, you wear your bruises with pride. You know.
It's hard to be the significant other though, because I mean, even I remember my first month I was dating my husband. He invited me to an MMA fight, and when I met him, he was actually in training camp for a fight. So he like took me to my first MMA event, basically first martial arts event ever, and it was a little shocking. And like to see him like get like hit and everything, I was so fresh and new to me. And then like afterwards, I was there because he had like a mild concussion, and so I was trying to like take care of him. And I'm like, how do you deal with a concussion? Like what is all this? And like it just seemed so crazy at the time. But I never thought I would actually try it either. But I think it helps because I played college basketball and football or flag football and soccer, and I love like contact sports. So that was always my thing. Like I love competition and I love contact sports. So I think that definitely helped in, like me continue to learn more about martial arts.
So you're a jock, basically.
Basically, I grew up. My dad always wanted a son, and I mean I'm the oldest, so he would take me out like all the time to play basketball. And whenever we were around boys, he'd be like, you need to go beat those boys over there. Like
I
or
like your
he's a
dad
teacher.
already.
Yeah, like he'd always be like, I remember there was a time I was in first grade and there were some boys in fourth grade, and he was a PE teacher, and we were in Taiwan at that point in time, and I was spending like the summer with him. And he took some boys out to the like track behind the school, and I was just hanging around with him that day. And he was like, all right, we're gonna run 400 meters, and then he told me you're gonna beat those fourth grade boys. So like he put me online, he's like, you better win. And I just remember like he was like just basically like intent, like real intense, telling me that I had to win. And like I always kind of had that mindset, like whoever I played against, especially when it came to the boys, that I had to beat them. And so
Yeah,
I kind of just always took that with me.
that's kind of cool though to have that mindset. Really nice that your father did that. I hope it didn't do it like in a very pushy way.
I mean, he's a little aggressive, but I mean, he's also very like very soft and like sweet as well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sports, I think we share that kind of similar mentality. Like I always sometimes had a problem being too aggressive. Even when I was playing basketball, I remember at one time in seventh grade, like I got angry and I didn't know how, I didn't probably deal with these emotions the right way. I wasn't taught how to like, just control myself like when I'm playing sports. Probably because my dad always pushed like to be stronger and tougher. And so I remember once, like, I think that was third grade actually. I got angry at a girl because they were playing a little bit more aggressive, and it's like little kids playing basketball. And I shoved the girl down and I stomped on her chest, and it was
Oh,
terrible. I was really, really bad. And of course, my like the coaches at the time were just like shocked that I would do something like that. Looking back, and I was like, I had a little bit of an issue back then. And that like I mean happened like a couple times like in seventh grade and like high school where I would get like get really upset or something in sports and just be way too aggressive. But luckily MMA is a sport you can do that in. So I think I found the perfect sport for me at the end of the day.
no, I completely agree for sure. Like I'm trying to. I'm a goofy guy. I'm a
Mhm.
clown. You know, I always smile, always tell jokes and everything. But when it comes to training or fighting, that's the only time that I could say that I'm fully in the moment and I'm 100% concentrated. Even
Yeah.
though I want to have fun as well, and I do have fun. Training for me is so much fun, and sparring, I love it. I just enjoy it. So I
Yeah.
introduced my kid. My kid is 9 years old, so I introduced my kid to that, and he just didn't like how serious I will get while training, because I tried to train him first myself,
Yeah.
and he was like, nah, man, like, well, obviously not in those words, but like, Papa, I cannot train with you. Like, no, you're too strict and everything.
Uh,
So like I decided, okay, then come train with me at my dojo, and you will train with a professor there. And he did that, and but he wouldn't like for me to be present in the
oh
class.
wow. Hmm.
But it's not that I will tell him off. Is that like I will, like, sometimes, like, for example, if he would be sparring, I would like, hey, cover your face, or like do this. You could,
Yeah.
and he will feel that pressure, get nervous, and not perform well.
Yeah.
So in
I
the
can
end,
understand
like, he told me like, okay, I don't want to go back to training and everything. It hurt me, but I understand. I mean, I cannot push him though, and he's going now. He's doing swimming, which is a good sport, you know.
that.
But with me as a kid, it was very difficult to get into martial arts because my father, especially, he was an academic guy. He was
Yeah.
not the
So
sporty
similar.
guy, you know, and
Yeah.
everything. And I was like, I fell in love with martial arts. I have to be honest, because of the Ninja Turtles. Like, oh my god, you know, the Ninja Turtles were my all-time favorite cartoon. I loved them. I wanted to be like them. Until today, my favorite color is blue because of Leonardo. I love pizza because of them. It's just like it was a big
Influence.
cultural influence for me. And then I will
Mhm.
watch all the movies of martial arts, the karate movie. I will actually the old school movies from China, the kung fu movies,
Oh
and
yeah,
all
those are
that.
so
I
good.
will love them, you know. And I will always tell my mom, I want to do that, and she would like not be that supportive. She would be, well, you have to train a lot to do that, you know. Like, and like, okay, but nothing will happen. And then all of a sudden, the school that I was in had kung fu in their curriculum, and that was my opportunity to get into martial arts. I got in. I never left it. That was when I was 12 years old. I'm
Wow, that's
35 now.
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's fun to
and that's
see.
my thing. Same like you, I love contact sports. I loved it when I was, because I did high school in the U.S. I played American football. I loved it. I was a tackler, defensive line. I loved it. And when I came here to Finland, the number one sport here is hockey. I
Oh
wanted to
wow.
do
Yeah.
hockey. I couldn't get this grades right. So no, that's it. Fuck it. I just stick to punching people.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because martial arts is something you can do like for really until you can't walk anymore. Maybe even you might even be able to use your arms. I don't know, but it's something you can do like a lot longer. I feel like than most sports,
For sure.
especially with
Plus, martial
BJJ.
arts is not only physical power, right? It's like mental
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's the
there's
fun
like a
part
lot of
too.
discipline behind that. That's one of the reasons I love BJJ so much, because I feel that in the BJJ community, there's a lot of respect and humbleness, as
Hmm.
opposed in the like kickboxing or Muay Thai community. Me speaking for myself, like when I was doing that all the time, I had a huge ego, and those kickboxers tend
Yeah.
to be assholes, man. I have to admit, at least here, they were like so arrogant. Oh my god. But in the BJJ community, everybody's like, it's all about helping the person
Yeah.
next to you, your sparring partner, and you grow together. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I feel like martial arts has taught me, like, because I used to have issues with control, especially it would come out in sports a lot. And I didn't like that. Like, like when you lose control, it's not a good thing, especially if you're angry or someone can get to you. And in martial arts, early on, I realized that I need to find, like, I need to control it. And I feel like it's taught me to control my emotions better and not fight with emotions, but to be calm, but use power when I need to use power, use my mind to think through situations. And like I love that because I feel like it's made me definitely evolve as an athlete and fight smarter, fight and not just go crazy and get angry or whatever.
Exactly. At least that was my at least for a long time, that was my number one strategy, to
Mhm.
just throw bombs and give it all at the beginning of the fight. Because I
Yeah.
always been a heavyweight, and as a heavyweight, I relied a lot of my strength. But also as a heavyweight, our stamina is not that much unless if you're like, I
Yeah.
don't know, Francis Ngannou or Cain Velasquez, one of those super athletic guys. So my stamina has never been the best, but I definitely throw hard hits. But what would happen by round one? I will be already gassed out. So
Mhm.
like my coach at that time, that was his strategy. That's what he taught me, and that was in Latin America. When I moved here, I learned a completely different game within kickboxing. So I literally started from zero, and when I had my first fight, I saw the difference because I took my time. I studied the opponent. I will have a strategy behind it. I will know when to throw hard hits and when not.
Yeah.
And also like everybody here in Finland is like much taller than me. I hate that. So it was easy. It was harder to hit the face or kick the
Yeah.
face. So I would like go down to the body and tear them down from there, and it would work. It would work definitely. And the most important thing for me was always have fun.
Oh
Always
yeah.
have
Sure.
fun. I love, like, you gotta have fun. Like you gotta have fun. Otherwise, you too much pressure. You might lose. You get like lost in your mind with the pressure.
Yeah. I
How do you
mean, I
handle
feel
all
like
that? Being a female fighter, I'm pretty sure being a female Muay Thai fighter, MMA fighter, you get a lot of pressure as well.
as a female, I feel like I feel like most people don't think female fights are going to be that great anyways, or like, I mean, especially here in Taiwan, like they already kind of just assume that it's going to be super low level, like nothing really exciting is going to happen in the female fights. So I don't think there's too much pressure here anyways, but like for me, I do have an issue with like I have a lot of pride and a lot of ego, and those are things that like it pushes me to train harder, and I never want to lose. Um, and then people here assume that because I'm half American, that and I also have done other sports, that I'm supposed to be stronger and better anyways. So there's a little bit of pressure because I feel like if I lose, then they're gonna feel like, oh my gosh, like I really beat like someone super amazing, and like so I feel like sometimes there's like whenever I'm competing, I have to win, and I have to show that like I kind of live up to whatever they're thinking about me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm a Christian, so I feel like fighting for me has become also a very spiritual thing. And I just love, like, for me, I found like in martial arts that it's very spiritual, physical, like mental, like it makes you develop all those areas of yourself. And um I like that because I feel like it's a challenge, and it's it helps me grow, and I just love like growing myself and trying to become a better version of myself every day. So
Mm.
those things I feel like, yeah, I feel like there's times where there's pressure, but I just handle it by I mean using my like thinking about it in a spiritual from a spiritual way and trying to like take on the challenge and push myself and just embrace the whole process of whatever's happening.
I completely agree with you there. Definitely, from a spiritual sense as well. Me, for example, because I'm Latin, I was raised in the Catholic religion,
Mm,
right? But like as a religion per se, I don't fully agree for personal reasons. But definitely, I'm a man of faith, right? I do it in my own way, though. But like a person, I have a high anxiety, PTSD. I battle with depression. Fighting has helped me a lot. It's not because also the release that you get,
yeah.
but like you say, it's a spiritual moment. Like for me, like fighting, like let's say in terms of anxiety, because of anxiety, I cannot live in the moment. I'm always looking, okay, what's going to happen next and this and that.
Yeah.
But when in training and fighting, that was the only time in my life that I will be calm and I will
Mhm.
live in the moment. And like it's kind of like nothing else matters. It's just like that surrounding, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
the world for that moment. Where how you train for 2 hours, 3 hours, that's your world, and you live in that moment. You're completely aware, and I love that. And I haven't found anything else that will give me that sense, that sensation, obviously, like, you can take medication, other people do weed,
Yeah.
whatever. This is it for me. And it sucks though, because I cannot train anymore because I'm injured. So I have to find another way to.
Mental training.
That's the hardest one, Maria. That's the hardest one.
It is the hardest one. I feel like that's the martial arts. Probably the biggest challenge in martial arts is to grow mentally and to try to learn how to be calm in like all situations and see what's going on. Because that's really difficult. Because I remember when I first started fighting, even up until recently, I would fight or like I'd be sparring or even in my fights, I can't really remember exactly like what had gone on. And I was like, I should be able to like remember what they threw or like be able to at least, catch a couple of like patterns. And I was realizing like I don't like why can't I remember like these things when I'm sparring? Like why don't I see like what's happening like in that moment? And like I just feel like that's my next challenge is trying to like be calm and to really see what's happening even when things are like when punches are coming at your face, kicks, like or if you're on the ground like trying to like still get your body to be calm and to think through like the scenario, like the situation and everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's for me, that's going to be like my next step of trying to get to that point as a fighter where I can really recognize and like stay calm throughout all the different
For sure. But
like
like what
scenarios.
happens is, like, for example, with conditioning training, it's pretty much repetition. You do the
Mhm.
technique over and over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And then when you spar, when the time comes to spar or compete, fight, it's just like you're so well prepared that it becomes an instinct what you're supposed to do, and
Mhm.
when you like you feel sometimes a certain hit that is coming at your way, it also becomes an instinct what you're supposed to either cover, dog, whatever, you know
Yeah.
so that's kind of like, that's really good that what is happening. Like, I know that you want to be aware in the moment, but it's good, like, also, I don't know if you videotape your videotape, that's so old school. If you record your
Yeah, I
training
do.
or your sparrings, you know
Yeah, I do watch them, and I mean it's helpful. And I do realize like it is crazy because you do things that you don't even know that you've like done because of your training and the repetition you put into it, and your body knows at the same time like what it should do. Because
yeah.
I mean I feel like I've been able to go through all my fights. I've done quite a few Muay Thai fights and some BJJ, and I never got injured and never like got my face. And so far, I've been I think pretty good defensively to not really take any injuries. So like I must be doing something right. Like my body's remembering the right motions. But
Definitely, because I got injured from day one.
oh
you know because like I remember also, like, I kicked this guy in the head, and I was like not amazed that because he fell down. I was not amazed or shocked that he fell down out of because of the kick. I was amazed and shocked, like, whoa, where did that kick come from? Like, and the dude was taller than me. Like, whoa, I'm like, how did that happen?
yeah,
It's just the but that was the time that I had the strategy, a different strategy that will go with all my power, and I
yeah.
will never block. So I would just like, I will
Oh
have the
wow.
style of Rocky Marciano, for example, that would like just like hit boom, 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 and then bow. And then that's where I got that I was telling you that my nose got like twisted
Oh
and
okay.
everything.
Yeah.
Bad strategy. I was like hurting myself on purpose to find that good shot. Bad strategy. Now I can do
Yeah.
differently though. Yeah,
Yeah. Dang,
it's
that's
crazy. Like,
crazy. I
but
could never like. And my husband always like stressed defense. So like I mean, when you're talking about training with your wife, I wouldn't say it's easy. Like training with your significant other, especially when they're professional and they care about their craft and it's their passion. Like he's very strict when he teaches me. So I don't think I mean, we try to enjoy it as well, but there have definitely been moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? But I like it too because I'm used to like very like strict and like I want you to like push me like hard and like make me perfect basically. So with him, I think I've been lucky that he is that kind of person and like when he trains, like he out of all the people, like he pushes me the hardest because he loves me and he wants me to like be good
of
and
course.
safe. And like
Thank you. Like, what your husband's name is Bo, right? Bo Morris.
Bam,
Bam
Bam
Bam.
Morris.
Sorry, Bam Morris. Like, let me send him. Bam, thank you for being so strict. That's how you're supposed to train, especially if you love that art.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
ones you
That
love.
goes out. I would say that to my family, my kids, because when I'm strict, they just complain all the time.
Yeah, it, hopefully they'll be able to see that it's because you care, that you want them to be
Yeah,
safe
well,
and to be
yeah,
good.
like for example, I listed my kid. I recognize that he has potential. Therefore,
Mhm.
I'm more stricter with him than
Yeah,
anybody else. Like plus, then again, when it comes to training, I love the tough love type of training. Like, come on,
yeah.
you can do it. Like and that. Other
Mhm.
in Finland, especially, that doesn't work with Finnish people. They're more like,
Oh,
okay, give me 5 push-ups. Okay, that's good. Give me 10 more. I cannot. For me, no. Like you gotta be, come on, let's do it. Like that, I need that
yeah,
thrive. I
I need
need
that
that.
intensity too, or I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get like charged up. Like it doesn't work. I feel like maybe because I'm in America, my coaches were always like that. Like I grew up in public school playing sports, so the coaches are like they're super strict and they're yelling at you all the time. They're cursing at you at times. And they at the end of the day, but they'd always like sit you down and be like, look, we want you to be good, we care about you guys, this is the reason why we push you so hard. And so you knew like, yeah, and you like, and then once you're in that environment, you start to love it and you like want them to be so strict and hard because
Yeah.
you know it's making you better
It
at the
is
end of the
at
day.
least that's how I saw it every time. Like
Mm-hmm.
starting from my kung fu teacher, Mr. Ivan. I had until today a huge gratitude to him. He was like my second father at that time, because I come from I came at that time I was dealing with a lot of hostility in my own home, so I was hanging out at the dojo all the time. So like at the beginning I was training 2 to 3 hours a day, but not because I liked it a lot. It was because I just didn't want to go home,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that kind of like was a good thing because in the end of the day I became really good at it. But my when my coach was training me, he was really really hard on me, and especially the advanced ones. He was really really hard. And then after training, he will give us like this talk. This is what happened. That's why he
Yeah,
did this. You would understand where he is coming from, and at the same time you get this feeling of acceptance as well. At least that's how I got like, hey, I'm part of the team,
yeah.
excellent, and everything. And all like since then, that has been my way of training. Like when I'm like, for example, when I was doing jujitsu with the guys here in Finland, I tend to talk to myself when I get tired. I'm like, come on, you can do it. Come on, baby. Come on, don't stop, don't stop. And my partner was like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm like, no, man, I'm talking to myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. In BJJ the other day, I was rolling, and sometimes I feel like it's so quiet. So I'm just like, oh, I like to talk through the sparring, just random stuff, or I'll like just crack jokes or be like, oh man, I should have done that, or like, oh no, it's coming. But just it's fun. I feel like BJJ is awesome because you can talk in it. You can like you can also it's a different kind of like it's a different kind of toughness and like striking, you know, like when
Yeah.
you're on the ground and like someone's on top of you and you're like, oh my gosh, like their weight is pinning you down and you're trying to find a way out of the situation and you're exhausted. Like it's different than striking and I love that too. And that like
Yeah.
that aspect of it.
And also during the sparring session, they kind of like teach you, they talk to you. At least that has
Mm,
been my experience. I will never forget one guy. Physically, he seemed like he had the face that, hey man, if you talk to me, I'm gonna tell you to fuck off. I hate you. He had that face.
yeah.
And when it was my time to spar with him, I was like, okay, in my mind, oh shit, I'm gonna spar with the asshole. Okay, bring it on. He was a purple belt. Now he's a brown belt, but purple belt at that time. And he was the nicest guy,
Wow.
the nicest guy. And
Yeah.
I was like, the same situation that you just described. He was on top of me. I
Yeah.
was exhausted. The dude's like, his weight was on me. His
Mm-hmm.
forearm was on my neck. I'm like, fuck. And then he was like, talking me through it. Like, first of all, relax, breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and remember the technique we learned today. Remember, just like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I was, oh shit, okay, boom, and I did the technique, and I was able to escape. And I
Nice.
learned so much from the 5 minutes of sparring we had with that guy. It's just, and he, like I said, he was the nicest guy, and now we're like good friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny because I feel like there are a bunch of people in BJJ like that. Like in our gym, we also have this guy, and he's super like just big white guy, and like he must be like 6 foot something. And
Damn.
everyone's like, "Oh, you should roll with him. Like he's so good. He'll teach you. Like he's massive, but like he's the nicest guy ever." And I feel like there's a lot of those kinds of guys, and it's really nice because when you're rolling with somebody and someone can kind of walk you through in that situation, I mean, that's the best training ever because you're in it and you'll remember that way more than like the drills that you just did, even though that's still helpful. But like in a sparring, like kind of rolling situation, if someone can like give you like drop it like a clue here or there, and just like remember your arm, pull this or do that, and like you remember those things.
Correct.
And
You
I feel
do.
like
You
that's
do.
amazing for people to do that. And not everyone does that. And I've been trying to like I'll ask you like the higher belts I roll with to be like, hey, can you like just like teach me a little bit or like like tell me something while
Yeah.
we're rolling because otherwise I feel like I'm not really learning much out of this
It's good to ask
situation.
questions. It's good, like for example, I always when I get tapped out, I always ask, especially if it's a higher belt, like what where did I did wrong? What do you suggest I could do? I always try to like
Mhm.
learn from that, you know.
Yeah.
But Maria, I was checking out the other day your interview with Eddie from Eddie's Cantina.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You are a teacher, or you were a teacher.
Yes, I'm still a teacher right now, technically, like part time.
Okay, like is it like elementary teacher, high school?
I was before I quit my job last year. I was a high school teacher, so I taught PE and health and English. Kind of, I dabbled in a lot of different classes. But yeah, mainly it was PE and health, and I ran our sports program for our school here in Taiwan. I was teaching at international school, so that was what I was doing full time, and I would just train on the side until I quit last year, and I tried to make training more full time.
What would be the difference between having a class of teenagers in Taiwan than having a class of teenagers in the States?
Oh my gosh, it's a big difference. The discipline part and management is going to be a lot easier here than it would be in the US. The kids are a bit more docile and they really don't do anything other than just stay on their phones, like which is probably pretty standard now.
Yeah.
But it's easier to manage them, I think, and they don't give you as much trouble, I think, as like a classroom in the States would be. Like they don't really do things like fighting or they in the US in a lot of schools you have a lot of issues with um like kids being like really bad, like yelling at teachers or maybe fighting each other, things like that. Those things don't happen here, really.
That's amazing. That makes it easier for the teacher, for the professor, you know. Because I have to admit, like my PE teacher in the States, I regret this, but like I was such an asshole to that guy. I had no respect for him, and he was a nice guy. I respected my football coach. I held like, cause I was scared of him, I guess, or something. But
Yeah.
my PE teacher was like, I would like the whole time I would never do PE. I would just like hide in the bathroom, talk to girls or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I passed. He passed me. That I'm great if he's listening today. Thank you.
Yeah.
You
It's
know.
kind of hard to fail in PE, but actually I taught international school, so the kids that came to our school pretty wealthy. And their parents are wanting them to like get into kind of like the Ivy League schools in the US or in Australia or in Europe. So they're putting quite a bit of money into these kids' education. So the kids that came to our school generally are pretty well behaved and they want to do well academically in everything. So even for me, like I would say my class is different from a regular PE class because it was structured like a class. Like you came to class, there was always assignments, there were quizzes, like whatever sport we're learning about, you're going to learn the sport and you're going to learn the skills or you're not going to pass.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
it was like a real class. And the kids were sometimes surprised, but I mean that's just how I run things. And like I just feel like if you're going to be in my class, you're going to learn something.
That's good. That is nice. You know, that is very, very good. I like that because it's just for example, it amazes me how in other places the students have such a disrespect for the teacher. At
Mm.
least I can definitely say that here in Finland that happens. It's unfortunate, even though the education system is wonderful,
Yeah.
one of the best systems out there in the world, definitely. But the kids are the one who's running the schools, and the teachers have no power there whatsoever, and it's a shame because the kids get away with so many disrespectful things. I was for a long time, like 7 8 years ago, I was an English teacher for second graders.
Oh, okay. Mm.
And here you get like the assistant teachers that will help you out and stuff like that if the
Yeah.
class is big. And one of the girls told the assistant guy that he's stupid. You are stupid.
Oh,
Like literally using that word, you're stupid,
second
obviously
grade,
in
huh?
the local language. And the guy was like, okay. And I was like, dude, you're not gonna do anything? No, why? And that was like my first experience with that. I was like, oh my God. Like, for example, in Latin America, that will never happen. You get expelled immediately if you talk like that to
Yeah.
the teacher. But like here, he was so calm, and then he started telling like it's so calm. He was so calm because those things happen so often, and it's unfortunate that like pretty much they are running the school. You cannot do much. They're like kids are running the school, so
Yeah, I would say it's
get
kind of the
away
same.
with bullying. They get
Mhm.
away with teasing and a lot of stuff. It's just. And it's becoming a problem. The
Yeah.
bullying side as well is becoming a problem here because they don't bully each other; they bully the teacher. It's crazy.
Oh wow. Yeah. Luckily that doesn't happen with the teacher. Um, but I taught international school, so the kids are pretty wealthy. So there's really not much you can do. Thankfully, they're not like bad. Like they're not be like you're stupid or anything like that. The worst they'll do is probably just be on their phone. You'll tell them put the phone away, and they'll still have the phone out or something. Um, and that's really the worst thing really that I can think of. I had to deal with is just like having to feel like I'm their babysitter and constantly tell them to put technology away and not watch Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, man. Like because I was reading an article the other day about how MMA is expanding, obviously throughout the world, and how some fighters should or the fighters should adopt this showman persona like they have in professional wrestling like WWE. And
Mm.
obviously as a showman persona you think about Conor McGregor and stuff like that. And then I wonder how that will be accepted in other parts of the country because I remember I was talking to Kai last year and he
Mm.
was telling me that in Taiwan, a person like Connor would not be well accepted, for example. It's more of a respectful thing. Would that be accurate?
I would agree like with like the kind of that arrogance personality is not would not be generally liked by people here. But with like the whole showman idea, like they love like I feel like the Asian people love when you dress up. Like if you like the women here, the women fighters, especially ONE FC, or even here sometimes they'll wear, like their red like traditional dresses, or they'll like dress up like an anime character, or I don't know, like something like a little cat or whatever, something
Yeah,
like cute
like
or
Killer
like
B. Are you familiar with Killer B from One FC?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
love what
yeah.
she does her entrances. Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel like stuff like that they love. So it is. I feel like with the sports, because it is entertainment. You have to find something that's like it's almost like you're acting out your character, whatever that character may be. You do have to really figure that out and kind of put on a little bit of a show for people.
correct. But like that showmanship should translate when you're fighting. If those two are different, then I
Yeah,
don't.
it's a little weird.
Yeah, because like for example, in United States, you will get the big money if that the showmanship part is a lot higher than your fighting skills. And from personal, my personal view in that it should be leveled out, like because like being a professional athlete in general is not easy at all. And being a
Yeah,
professional fighter is like so sacred, like you damage your body all the time. Therefore,
yeah,
I wish that the world would appreciate the fighter because he or she is a fighter and not because what they can do in the walk
Yeah.
to the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. And definitely I agree with that. I feel like unfortunately it's not that is definitely not the way it works, but
Yeah,
we
unfortunately,
can,
that's not. Yeah,
but there are people. I do feel like when you find those people that those genuine like fighters that they love it and they just want to do this, they don't necessarily have that like showmanship personality like set out. Like I feel like there are like the fighters, like the true like the martial artists do really like they see that and they're like, man, like that's a great fighter. And so at least maybe people that do martial arts can appreciate those people more.
absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunately, the fans cannot appreciate the techniques. Uh,
No.
the fans like, yeah, kick his ass, do that, or the typical. I hate that. I hate that when the fans say, "I can do that. It's so easy."
Oh yeah, yeah.
I hate it. Oh my god! Like motherfucker, shut up. You can't.
I know it's frustrating. Like the other day, I was at the gym and I'm on the like I was doing a conditioning session. I'm on the Aerodyne, and you know, like when you're on the Aerodyne and the assault bike, you're dying. Like it sucks. And this guy walks up and he's like, "So how would you think about the McGregor fight?" And I was like, do you not see? And then he's like, "Man, that was a good fight, right?" And he was it was like it looked like Poirier was gonna be the winner because he was talking more smack, and I was like, I was like, I don't think that's like necessarily the reason why he won. Like, and there was just this interesting idea of like that he was saying of why he thought that he won. So I was just like, and then he was trying to tell me what like he saw, and he doesn't do martial arts, so. I was explaining what I thought about the fight, and like he was thinking like what he thought was more accurate. So I just thought that was hilarious. But
Man,
yeah, when people think like they know more, even though they've never done it.
exactly. Oh my god. I will never forget this. I was watching. So during summer, I was watching the 2019 ADCC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was watching the finale, right? And they're like, this guy's grappling, and they were grappling for
Yeah,
like 10 minutes nonstop. I was like, wow, that's insane, man. They still grappling. It's
definitely.
must be exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to overtime, so they were like over like 20 minutes there. I mean,
Oh my
12 minutes
gosh.
they have been already sparring. And
Mm-hmm.
then my brother-in-law, like, hey, I would like to do that with you. I'm like, oh wow, man, that's so cool. Have you done it before? Like, no, 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 it seems easy. I don't need to train. I was like, okay, this is one of the
Well, that'll
guys.
be fun.
One of the guys. I'll be like, then I just told, listen, but okay, let's do this, man. If I tap you out under 1 minute, like we'll make a bet, and under 1 minute you give me like something of value. Like in the end, he just backed out. And like, well, we're just so good at talking, and all the fans are so good at talking. Oh my god, please have that experience. At least have one training in martial arts, at least one class. You like at least I will
Yeah, it's
appreciate it
true.
because it's hard, it's tiring, it's not for everybody. And even people that train martial arts at the beginning, as soon as they get hit in the face, are like, oh no, this is not for me, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
But before that, they're like, no, I'm a fighter. I'm gonna be the greatest fighter ever. Ha! 2 hits in the face. No, okay, I'm out.
That's the best. I feel like I love when that happens when especially if I'm training or sparring with like kind of a bigger guy, way bigger than me, and I know they're new. In BJJ, it's really fun, I think, to go with somebody that's like almost brand new, and you know they don't know anything, so you can just like take their back or like put them in an arm bar super fast, and they're just like, what in the world happened? Because they're thinking they're big and strong and like they're gonna do well against you,
Complete,
but
and
they
that
don't
was
understand
like
the principles.
the misconception I had also at the beginning. I was I was partnered with a 16-year-old skinny guy.
Mm.
I was like, nah, man, this kid, like, I just gotta put my weight on him like
Yeah.
a bear, and that's it. I don't know what the hell happened. He tapped me out in like 20 seconds. And I just like look at him, and I'm like, bro, you're an assassin, man. Like crazy. Yeah, it's great. Like the world would need to respect more the discipline, the sport. But we're on the right track. Everybody, the world's getting more aware of MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Mhm.
even karate. Well, karate has been on for since the beginning of times. Like Hollywood helped karate become a mainstream sport for
Yeah, I
sure.
remember trying it once when I was young, and I didn't end up going back. I was like, I'll do gymnastics instead. But I mean, I think that was my only exposure ever to martial arts was like there was a gymnastics gym near where I lived, and there was a karate, like a dojo, and I was like, which one do I do? Like they both look cool, and I went to both and ended up sticking with gymnastics and like doing basketball and other things.
So you're quite a versatile athlete. So you have done basketball, soccer, gymnastics, MMA, Muay Thai. What else?
I mean, I did a lot. I think I was most of my time in my life I was spent doing sports. So in high school, I ran track and cross country and did volleyball and basketball, and I did that in junior high too. And I also tried pole vaulting for a little bit. Um, did swimming for a tiny bit of time as well. Really,
Damn.
any sport I try, any sport that was available wherever I was, I wanted to try.
Insane respect to you, Maria. That's so cool. Like I wish I was. It's crazy. I was never into sports. Martial arts was my thing. You know, in Latin America, the number one sport is soccer. I would play soccer because everybody else would play it. But frankly, I sucked at it. It was like it was embarrassing. I was that kid that would kick the ball and would not hit the ball. The ball would just like go.
Oh,
I was horrible. I was the one last picked in the teams and everything. But when it came to martial arts, I just became a beast. I'm not saying that I'm an expert or anything, but
yeah.
I had my wins. It was good.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think if I had not had that background, I started martial arts like really seriously training and doing MMA almost. It's not that it hasn't been for that long. It's about a year and a half ago, like that I've been like more serious about it. So I'm really new to like MMA in general. Like I started just training with my husband every couple months, maybe doing one boxing session, and then that's it. And then it wasn't until about a year and a half to two that I was like, okay, maybe I should try like a Muay Thai competition. And then I just started to train like more like every day. And then before that, it was just sporadically at different times. But yeah, so I would say like if I did not have that like sports background, the way I've been able to compete and like progress so fast in like a year and a half wouldn't be possible without all that. Because I feel like it helps. I mean, I've had that strength and like the agility and the speed from all the other sports I've done in my life. So it's been, I think my learning process has been a lot faster.
Well, that's cool. And your husband Bam, he is a professional MMA
Yeah,
fighter.
yeah, he is. So so he gives me those like those shortcuts or like the things I need to do that you would probably learn over a longer period of time. Or it takes more people, most people probably longer, many years to like figure out what to do. He just tells me like you need to do this or you need to work on this. It kind of just gives me those like shortcuts.
That's kind of cool though. That's really good, really good.
Yeah,
He's training out of Tiger Muay Thai, right, in Thailand, in Phuket.
yeah. Mhm.
I was like, and is he there with you now in Taiwan?
No, he's we've actually been separated almost a year now. It's crazy, which is
Oh,
one of the reasons why I'm going to Thailand right now. Finally.
oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like being separated with your partner is hard, even though sometimes uh there's no other choice. Like for example, you have your thing going on, he's training out there. Circumstances are like that. I remember I had to go to work to Latin America. I was living in Finland. I was 3 months away from my family, from my wife. I missed her. Yeah, it's
Hard.
hard.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while though, like almost 2, 3 years because I mean I was teaching full time and trying to make it as a professional. It's not easy, especially with like when you don't come from like a big like a wealthy family. You have to do it on your own. So he's been doing this a long time since he was like 15, I think. And so like I was teaching and trying to like help him and support and make sure like he makes it and like goes where he wants to go with like fighting and whatever. So I would stay in Taiwan and work for the most part, and he would train in Thailand and fight out of Thailand. So we've been doing this for about 2 or 3 years. So actually, a lot of our time has been spent apart, and like it definitely is a sacrifice on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. But what's the plan now? You say you're going back, yeah, to Thailand.
Yeah, so now I mean the plan is luckily I've been able to pull my work online and teach online. So now I have the chance to still like make what like have a decent like financial security and still like kind of be where I want to be and then train. My goal is to try to train more full time. So not completely there yet, but like getting better. Like I can spend like 3/4 of my day training and the other part working, and then and to see where it goes from there. But I do want to become a professional in like a year or so, maybe a year to 2 years.
That's all. Are you gonna train in the same place where he trains at Tiger Muay Thai?
Yeah, I plan on training at Tiger, and I do want to do some
Lucky.
Muay Thai fights and stuff out of Thailand this year.
Man, I want to train at least one time. They have this open trainings in Tiger Muay Thai. I'm too intimidated to go there.
I've seen them. They have they have the tryouts every year. I don't know how it's gonna go moving forward, but they have the fighter tryouts where if you made it, like they'll sponsor you for a year and they'll give you food and like a place to live and everything. So a lot of people would come out for those, and you just that it's like a week of just brutal training.
Yeah, I
Like the coaches
saw
go in on you, just crazy.
just like the warm up run. I think it was like 10 kilometers. Like fuck, hell no! I do 10 kilometers in 1 month.
Yeah, they do that. I mean, but if you go to a Thai gym in Thailand, though, they do that regularly. So if you at least like if you get here and you're able to train a month or two and kind of be in this environment, like every time I'm in Thailand, the training is like it takes it up 2, 3 notches than where I am. Like in Taiwan, I always comparing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll come back to Taiwan after training in Thailand and be like, this class is so easy. Like, why is it not harder? It's like almost the same amount of time, but the intensity is like maybe like a 4 versus in Thailand it's like a 10.
Wow, like
Even for like
yeah.
amateurs and like every and wherever whatever level you are, you're still gonna feel that intensity.
Oh my god. No, I have to man up. When I'm all healed with my injuries, I'll go there at least once to have that experience. Because I have been in Phuket, and I've seen the trainings, but
Mm-hmm.
I never participated. And I got to see this Khalil Roundtree train there. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, my husband trains with him a lot.
Really? Oh, man, he's the nicest guy. This Khalil guy.
Yeah, he is.
Very nice. Very nice. Speaking like your husband, I would love. I will tell him to. I will reach out to him for him to participate in one of our talks as well. Like get him to
Yeah, he would
tell us a
love
little
that.
bit more about his martial arts experience and his training over there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Maria. Then this will be our time for now. Thank you so much. This was a great talk. Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. I wish I could have shown you Taiwan or at least a little bit, but at least you could see. there's that.
I mean, not that yet, but next time, right?
Yeah, and you got it. It's technically Chinese New Year's time now, so where everyone's
Oh, Happy New
celebrating.
Year. You
Yeah,
know what?
thank you.
Yeah. But before I let you go, Maria, you want to give any shout outs to someone?
um, Probably just my husband. Um, yeah, he's usually the ones that watch things like he follows along everything I do and is always super supportive and always like cheering me on, whatever it is, from the smallest fight to the bigger fights, whatever. He's always there, so that's
Oh, then
I
a
love
big
that.
shout out to Bam.
Yeah, the Bam Wars.
All right. Okay, Maria, you take care. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you again, and definitely we'll be in touch. All right.
All right.
Bye.